Hey, Yancy.
Hey Bill, how are you?
Good. Oh, this darn Surface Book, it's great, but what was it? I had a federal court appearance last Thursday, and we figured it out, but the Zoom thing wasn't cooperating.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was like, let me get on early today just in case.
just okay.
So it's got a mind of its own.
Softwares do. Yeah. Hey Franz, I emailed it to you on Friday afternoon. And you're just seeing all my emails now. You gave yourself away. No? No, hang on. Why isn't it letting me invite people? There we go. All right, Franz, I just resent it to you. All right, no problem.
So for tonight's meeting, I've been assigned to the American Girl doll room in my house.
Again?
Having three daughters, there's about a dozen American Girl dolls right behind me. So I'll get rid of them during closed session.
Doesn't change the quality of your legal advice, right?
No, no.
Those are probably very valuable, Bill.
You know, they might be because my oldest is 22, so some of them are, 20 years old.
How old is your youngest?
12.
Oh,
I
okay,
got
maybe you have
a
another year.
spread.
Yeah.
And
You
there's
may
one in the middle.
get like another year or two before you could sell them off.
Yeah. And then I have an 18-year-old, so.
Is your 18-year-old in college?
Yeah, she just started MIT.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is she on campus?
No, she's home.
Virtual.
Yeah.
Wow. How does she feel about that?
You know what? She's got a good attitude. It's because a lot of her friends that did go away, it's not that great because
I can imagine.
they kind of have their dorm and not much else,
Right.
So they let the seniors and grad students go back, but second semester, depending on how things go, they'll let the freshmen go. So she's,
Wow.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Hopefully there'll be vaccine.
I know. Well, she's downstairs doing. She joined the sorority. It's pretty good. They're doing a lot of stuff for him. So she's got some kind of sorority thing going downstairs. So I'm up here.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's smart.
yeah.
Mr. Cobb, you're muted.
Bill, you want to show off the collection?
We waiting on Greg, you said?
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who's here. He's still not one. Still not on.
Everybody,
And there.
where in the world is Wayne Hamer? I love the background.
I did something that I can't change yet, so I'm stuck with it for a little while.
That's fine. Everybody well?
Not the world.
But I'm over Europe right
Hold
now.
on. I'm going to find them.
Mr. Bailey, how are you, sir?
Hey, Mayor, how are you?
Good, my friend.
They just asked me to show the American Girl doll collection.
Oh, wow, look at that. Amazing.
Awesome.
Still on the one I sent you on Friday?
That's a little boy's worst nightmare, right? Seeing a
Yeah.
collection like that.
I have 3 girls, no boys.
I took my daughter once to the store. We walked out. She had an outfit matching a doll with the outfit.
Yep. Yeah.
Miss those days.
You get to do it all over again.
I know. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Yes.
I hope they didn't throw them out. They're hell of expensive now.
Exactly. That's what we were just talking about.
This time you're going to be paying more money.
I jumped on that debate just now for the school board. Did you see it?
No. Bad timing.
Yeah.
That was today.
Yeah, just now. Start at 7.
Should have. I sent it. And I don't know where Greg is either. I. It should have. It should. It should, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Michael. I just sent you another email. It went through on my end.
As soon as Greg joins, we'll start. Surprised he's late.
Did anyone try to call him?
It's the webinar, yeah. No, because it's a completely different ID. I'm gonna try resending it to you again. Yeah. Sending it again. I mean, I don't know, Michael. I sent you 2 emails. I don't know what else to do. You would need the meeting ID number.
Yes.
I was just on the phone with Greg. Greg is on by phone. I think he just needs to be unmuted. but he's trying to log in as well. He's having some problems, but he can hear us. We can actually start.
Okay, does she need to send you something? Does Yancy need to send you something? Okay, all right. So I know she's trying to help Michael out. Yeah. Okay.
I
We'll
don't
get that back. Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
He just needs the link. He's on the phone, but
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know.
gonna,
Yeah,
I'm,
know.
hang on a second. I'm going to send the link to him right now.
yeah, send Greg the link. Yeah.
Maybe he
Maybe
didn't.
it was his old email address. Let me see.
Oh, that might be because he had to change his email address. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
I just hit send to for Greg.
To the new email address, right?
Greg had an old email address. I don't know, Michael. I'm assuming it is, but I don't know. Where's the agenda I sent you on Friday? It would definitely be in that. Yes, yes, I did. This is the third time I'm sending it. I mean, I don't know. I can't help your email address if it's not working, Michael. I just resent the email to everybody. Is anyone on the phone with Greg by any chance?
No, I hung up from him. No.
I'm not seeing him on here either.
Are they on the closed session link, Yancy?
Did you guys go to the closed session link? The only thing I sent out today was the closed session meeting.
No, Greg, I think he had problems with his email and he changed his email address. So we just have to send him the link, right?
Is this the open or the closed that I'm in?
This is open.
This is the open, okay.
Hey, Bill, wasn't Greg wasn't he on the phone?
Yeah. Yep. So he said he could hear us. He was trying to get in by video, but
I specifically made sure you got it on Friday. I specifically made sure you got it. I don't know why you didn't get my emails, Michael. Look in your junk mail filter. My emails end up in people's junk mail filters. I don't know what to tell you.
Let me see.
Michael, I can't stay on the phone much longer. Yes. Try this. I just sent you something else. Try that. You're not the city one. Hang on. I'm going to try something else. I'm just going to copy and paste everything. Hey. can't text it, Michael. It's too long. Michael, I'm on my computer. I'm not on my phone. Yeah, I just resent you another email. Look for that. I got to see where Greg is on here. Yes. I don't see Greg on here either.
He told me he could hear us, but
I see him as a phone number if it's the 732 number,
Yeah,
but the
that's it.
problem with that is I can't promote him to a panelist doing that. All he could do is listen.
Oh, so he probably hears what you're saying right now. So
Yeah, I can't promote him to a panelist with a phone number. I need to be able to promote him to a panelist. I'm going to try sending him another email as well.
you have his new email address?
Yeah, I just sent it to him.
Okay.
Greg, if you can hear me, I just resent you another email. I sent you like 5 emails. Is your Wi-Fi on? I mean, I don't know. Oh, there's Greg.
Okay, let's go.
They want to start the meeting, Greg. They want, Michael,
Carol, thank you very much.
Yep.
I can't, they want to
Oh,
start.
wait, you have my link. You have my name on here. Hold on.
Well,
I sent you my link.
You're the one that sent it to me. Thank you.
All right. Well,
I mean, I don't know.
Or I should say you're the one that I received.
Carolina Rosenberg.
We have to get going, right? We're actually 13 minutes out already.
929-205-6099. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. That's
Yeah.
not your problem. That's not your problem.
I've resent several emails and none of them went through.
Maybe we can get Cheryl to send it to him.
I think 2 Cheryl Rosenbergs is enough.
Yancy, I do have the closed session one. That one did make it through to me.
Okay.
Maybe you could help him out with the traffic on Van Nostrand. Okay. We're gonna get started. Yancy, you ready? You okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's get started. We got a lot to do here tonight. I call this council workshop meeting of October 13th, 2020 to order at 7:45 p.m. Will everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the city clerk please read the Open Public Meeting Act?
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Notice of this meeting was included in a notice sent to the record in the Star Ledger and advertised in said newspapers on January 17, 2020, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required notices under the statute. A copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Proper notice having been given, please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et seq, and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103, issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency and a public health emergency in the state of New Jersey, the city of Englewood does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens while ensuring the continued functioning of government, the City Council workshop meeting scheduled for October 13, 2020 at the Englewood Municipal Court, 73 South Van Brunt Street, Englewood, New Jersey, 07631, will be held telephonically and virtually via Zoom only. Members of the public who wish to participate in the meeting may do so by calling or clicking on the link below at 7:30. Link is on our website, or by dialing 929-505-6099. The meeting ID for this meeting is I believe, 840-859-444123. Might have copied and pasted the wrong one for this notice. Passcode is 845265. Individuals calling into this number will be able to fully participate in the meeting, including providing public comment. The agenda for the meeting can be found on the city's website at www.cityofenglewood.org. A non-public dial-in number will be used if closed session is required. Proper notice having been given, the municipal clerk is directed to include the statement in the minutes of this meeting.
Will the city clerk please do the roll call?
Councilman Cohen attempting to log on. Councilwoman Glenn?
Here.
Councilman Hamer?
Here.
Councilwoman Rosenberg?
Here.
Council President Cobb?
Here.
Also present is Mayor Michael Wiles, City Attorney Bill Bailey, and for the interim city manager, Greg Fahrenbach.
Okay, first up, bills and claims. I have a motion for bills and claims of $10,202,416.05. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? I have a few questions, and I know Mr. Volsi is on as well. So, but I see we had bills. We got something from, I guess, Mr. Kaufman put together for Cousins, about $39,500. Is Mr. Kaufman on? Do we know?
No, he was not able to attend tonight's meeting.
Okay.
Cousins Tree, I'm sorry. How's everyone doing? Cousins Tree, I know they were working with the DPW in removing hazardous or dangerous city trees.
Yep.
So that may be what that's related to.
Yeah, I just think I want to find out how much we've spent with Cousins this year, so we have a clue. I know we've done a lot of tree removal, which we needed to do because of the storms and so on and so forth. So it would just be a good data point as we go into budget season to understand how much we've put in there, because I anticipate this will be more the norm going forward. So just this is what I'm asking.
Mr. Cobb, I will carry these questions on to get you answers after the meeting.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Mr. Volsi, while we have you here, Jace General Contractors, it's on page 3 of 7. It's $6,750. It says emergency sidewalk repair. What sidewalk? Where was that at? Do you know?
That's a couple different locations, much like Cousins Tree and a lot of the other vendors that the DPW uses. It's for emergency sidewalk repairs, whether it be a city tree that's uplifting a sidewalk or a city sidewalk that's damaged and causing a tripping hazard. So they would be one of the vendors that the DPW would call in and get in contact with to come in and do emergency repair.
Right. Do we have okay, that's good. Do we have a standing contract with Dutra?
No, we don't. They, unfortunately, when you call out for emergencies, they seem to be the ones that are most responsive. They come when we need them, and they seem to come immediately, as opposed to other contractors that, sometimes need a little bit of time to get their schedules together. They seem to always be available and willing to help.
Yeah, because I see that we have like 7 events with them. They've made a substantial amount of money on us.
I don't
It's billing
disagree with
period.
that.
Yeah. So do we have, what kind of relationship do we have them? Do we have, is it a contractual or, you know, and what I mean by that, or are we just getting hit by the hour or whatever it is with them? Because we use them a lot.
Yes, I believe it may be in our best interest to start looking into having some sort of contract with a vendor for emergency projects so that we have a set, a set fee in place. Right now, as emergencies come up and we contact vendors to give us a quote, Dutra is usually the first one that gives us a quote, and we wait a few days, and typically, if it's an emergency, we can't wait too long, and we end up letting them do the work. But they are very responsive, and they're always there when the DPW or even our office calls for any emergency work. But we don't have a standing rate with them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because is their rate fair that we're getting, or is it just we're getting the emergency rate on that?
You know what? Sometimes when we've gotten a few quotes, they've been the low bid as well. So I'm sure in some instances they're high, but if we don't get anyone else responding and it's an emergency that has to be completed, then they get the benefit of that. But for the most part, they seem to be right around what the cost should be.
Okay. So this is your day to day. On page 4 of 8, Reiner Group Inc. replaced chiller compressor for $19,115.
This is at the library. The library has, as you probably know, they had a slew of upgrades this year. Elevator, chiller. I think they're doing their doors as well. This was just one of them. Reiner's, for a while now, for many years, Reiner's been the vendor that's been working on the library infrastructure. They're well familiar with the system, and we had an incident where the system went down, and they actually got called in to repair it. And unfortunately, that was the cost.
Okay, so I got 2 more for you. New Prince Concrete, Matledge Place. Are we finished with Matledge Place? Or?
That is the last payment for Matledge Place. That was their final payment. I don't see where it is offhand, but it should be around 7,000 or 8,000, something like that.
Yeah, 7,800.
Okay.
And then we got your program. I thought we said the program was done. The 2019.
No, actually, yes. I actually wanted to reach out to you and clarify that.
Okay.
The last time you asked for that, it was actually the TNM bill that was associated with the work. This time around is actually the vendor's last payment. So both of them were last payment. One was for TNM, and this time around is for the vendor.
67,728.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm finished, Mr. Volsi. Thank you. Yancy, I guess if nobody else has any other questions, we can do roll call.
Just for the record, just like to note that Mr. Cohen is on the call. Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Councilman Cohen. Councilwoman Glenn?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosenberg?
Yes.
Council President Cobb?
Yes, I vote yes. Ordinances for public hearing, second reading. Mr. Bailey, I believe you had some comment on this ordinance that we have to do, ordinance 20-06.
Yes, if I may, Council President.
Yes, you may.
As you may recall, in August, in accordance with the redevelopment statutes, we referred the proposed redevelopment plan to the planning board, which then does their review and makes a recommendation and any comments back to the governing body. The planning board did that back in September, and 2 of the comments pertain to the statement that the proposed plan is consistent with the master plan of contiguous municipalities, Bergen County and the state of New Jersey. And another comment was a more definitive statement as to how this proposed plan what objectives it achieves within the city of Englewood. So what's before you is we added 2 paragraphs to address those comments. And number one, it is consistent with the master plans of these other state government agencies and the entities. And in addition, went through some of the examples. For example, transportation, it is addressed in the redevelopment plan in terms of, for example, shuttle service is going to be part of this. It's going to provide for affordable housing. It's going to be a mixed use with some retail. It's going to assist 3 properties that have basically been undeveloped for roughly 20 years, I would say, before my time, and some other items. So what's before you now and procedurally, because it is an ordinance, would be a motion to introduce the ordinance as amended and then schedule the public hearing for our next meeting, which I believe is October 26th.
Okay, so what do we need, Bill, right now? You're saying because we're going to amend the ordinance as it reads today?
Right, yeah, so it'd be, is there a motion to introduce the ordinance as amended?
So moved.
Then we need a
Second.
roll call.
Sorry, I'm just writing notes. Councilman Cohen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Glenn.
Yes.
Councilman Hamer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosenberg. Councilwoman Rosenberg.
Did we lose her?
I said yes.
Thank you. Council President Cobb.
Yes. Hey, Bill, so this would be moved to the next meeting?
Right, which I believe is October 27th. Unlike a resolution, an ordinance has to have an introduction and a public hearing. That's why we have to do the 2 steps.
All right, so we'll have a public hearing on the 27th of October.
Correct.
Okay. We can move on from here. We can go to the public comment on agenda items 202 through 210. And if anyone wishes to comment on these items in public session, please raise your hand or go down to the hand at the bottom of the, I guess at the page, and state your name and your address, and you have 2 minutes to speak.
First one is Rick.
Yeah, Ricardo Wilby, Englewood, New Jersey. Yeah, it's come to my attention. I don't know if it's on this agenda, but there's some kind of resolution to try to limit free speech at the council. Is that one of those items on there?
Nope, it's not to limit free speech. It's to talk about how to conduct a remote meeting and how we should handle it.
Okay.
So it's
All right,
not,
well,
it's not limiting speech, it's how speech should be conducted. That's what it is. The
I was
rules
looking forward
basically
to
lays
suing the
out-
city like everybody else. Again.
Excuse me?
So I was looking forward to suing the city for abridging my free speech like everybody else again.
No,
I got all excited.
everybody's entitled to free speech.
Oh,
It's just-
okay. I thought we was in, okay. I thought
No.
we were someplace in outer space. All right. No problem.
No. It just gives you rules of engagement in terms of how the meeting should be conducted remotely and how it should be handled. That's what it is. And Mr. Bailey, correct me if I'm saying something wrong.
No, you're correct, and it's basically a notice that was issued by the state. So it's guidelines issued by the state that municipalities have to follow.
Okay, so when are we going to get back to in-person meetings? I mean, I could go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a cup of coffee in person. Okay, I feel that, you know, me as a taxpayer, I need to come to these meetings like I used to, read my agendas and understand what's going on, because there's a lot of things that are not running the way how they're supposed to be. There's a lot of nefarious activities being done behind closed doors, and some people are taking advantage to save tolls, okay, and to commit all kinds of crimes against the citizens right now. So when are we going to go back to in-person meetings?
There is no idea at this point based on the health concerns. So, But whenever they allow us to do it, I'm sure we'll do it.
Well, I think the corruption is more detrimental than COVID. Tell you that.
Okay. All right. Anybody else, Yancy?
Yeah, done.
Who?
2 minutes are up. May I add something to that?
You may.
So part of the local finance notice that was also put out by the state was that for in-person meetings, if we're limited to capacity, we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to have in-person meetings if the room limits the capacity to the number of people that would like to attend the meetings. For example, the number of participants in tonight's Zoom meeting is 34. The capacity at the court right now is 26. We would be prohibiting people from entering the courtroom due to capacities for COVID concerns. So we would not, the state would frown on that. So this is why we're continuing with the Zoom meetings until we're no longer able to have capacity limits where everybody's able to attend like they always used to. Additionally, all agendas are posted on our website Friday afternoons.
Okay, if we, Yancy, anybody else?
Yes, Diane Jansen, I'm just allowing, sorry, it's just a little slow for me. There's a lot of clicks I have to do to get to things, so just, so Diane Jansen is next. Diane, you have to unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, Yancy. I really appreciate it. Diane Jansen, 589 Ridgeland Terrace. I feel that this policy is wonderful. However, if we're going to have a policy for the public, I think we also need for our representatives, in that the kind of decorum that we see, that everybody is visible, and also that people are prepared on time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yancy, anybody else?
Yes, one more. Scott Jenkins. Scott, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening. Scott Jenkins, Toms River, New Jersey. Couple of questions. The first question I had was as to Resolution 210. I wanted to know why there's no more information other than that it's talking about an appointment. Why are we not discussing who the person is and what the title is? Mr.
Greg,
Cobb?
you want to talk about that?
Mr.
Mr.
Cobb, can I
Bailey?
respond?
Yes.
We were finishing up the background and the reference checks late last week and over the weekend, and the final reference and background check report was not able to be given to the city council until I believe it was yesterday morning. In addition, we then had to prepare the resolution that implemented what the council's decision was going to be, so long as the background and reference check came through satisfactorily. And the resolution went through final editing earlier today. So those are the reasons why that was not available.
Okay, just a quick comment, Greg. First of all, that does not give me an answer as to why the person's position or title that was going to be discussed was not in there. There's no reason not to put that in there for the public, other than the fact that somebody's trying to hide something, Mr. Cobb. And then the other, my other point would be, as you're indicating about a resolution, I mean, these things are just, they're forms. I mean, it doesn't take but 2 minutes for somebody to print that out and to add it to an agenda. So I just want to say that that's unacceptable. That's an unacceptable situation, and you're intentionally trying to hide information from the public. And that is just stone wrong. This is what gets you folks in trouble, as you can see from my recent email, my recent mail. The other thing I'd like to ask is, how many days this year did Mr. Kaufman physically work in the city of Englewood? It's my understanding that Mr. Kaufman has not been in the building okay, almost 7 months now. And then he came back, and when he did come back, he infected the rest of the city hall. So now everybody else is out. So, Mr. Cobb, you can yawn, but you really are doing a horrible job, sir.
Next.
Mr. Cobb, if
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins is finished, may I provide responses to the two
Sure.
additional questions he raised?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mr. Jenkins, the reason why there was no name placed on the agenda and the title was because the reference and background check had to be satisfactory to the city council before they were going to place somebody's name on that agenda. I was late in being able to get that to them for a number of reasons, most of which the city council is aware of. And in addition, it does not take 2 minutes to be able to complete a resolution. When you see the length of the resolution, when you see the detail of the resolution, when you understand that it went through probably 5 or 6 edits, you will then understand that it doesn't happen in 2 minutes or 2 hours when multiple people are working on it. Thank you, Mr. Cobb.
Yep.
Next is Janine Ellis. Ellis, if you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Good evening. Janina Ellis, 1 William Street, Englewood, New Jersey. I just wanted to make an announcement that we're excited to announce a special reading partnership program with the Englewood on the Palisades Charter School and special guests. And tomorrow we are inviting everyone to a read aloud with the artist Way McDonald. She's a recording artist formerly on The Voice and also an author of a book. In honor of National Bullying Prevention Awareness Month, we are having her do a read aloud of her book, The Little Girl with the Big Voice, and it will be on Zoom tomorrow, October 14th at 2:30 p.m. And I will send out the link to your emails.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Peter Jansen. Peter, you have to unmute.
Yeah, it just takes me a second to click on it. I want to follow up. It's Pete Jansen, 589 Ridgeland Terrace. I want to follow up on Scott Jenkins' point on Resolution 210 on the agenda, which is lacking a lot of information. Tell me, why couldn't the resolution title give the position title for the appointment that's being considered? That would not identify a specific person, but it would at least give the public some idea of what the heck is going on. Thank you.
Mr. Cobb, would you like me to answer?
Yes, please.
Mr. Jansen, the reason why that was done was because the resolution was put on there simply as a placeholder. We did not want to raise any expectations in the event that something slipped between the lip and the cup, as sometimes happens when there's doing an appointment at this level. And so while it was not everything that we would like it to have been, we wanted to make sure there was a placeholder. We wanted to make sure we didn't do anything to jeopardize the person's current employment. We wanted to make sure we didn't set any expectations for anyone coming into this meeting in the event the whole thing fell through.
Yeah, but a simple title would not jeopardize someone's current employment. It would not be identifying them personally. It would just be a position. And secondly, if it is that incomplete and you're that unsure to put it as a placeholder, why couldn't it just be postponed until the following council meeting when it can be read and considered?
Mr. Cobb, I don't want to go into a question and answer process, but if Mr. Jansen is done, I will then provide the response to that.
Yes, I'm done.
Please. And then cover that, and then let's answer that completely this time, Greg. You know, just do what we got to do so we can go on and move on from the rest of the meeting.
The candidate wished to provide 2 months' notice to their current employer for the purposes of being able to arrange for an appropriate transition from her current employment. We have a deadline on our contract with the city of Englewood for December 31st, 2020. We wanted to make sure that there'd be sufficient time to be able to provide for an overlap and a smooth transition from the interim management to the permanent management. And this will provide us a bare minimum of 2 weeks for that to be able to take place, which is populated by a couple of holidays. And so under those circumstances, we did not want to stretch this out any longer, because if we did, we would then be looking at no ability to be able to have an appropriate transition from the interim management to the new manager. Was there anything else that members of council wanted me to comment on?
Mr. Bailey, I see you moving up. Do you want to say something, or should we just talk more about this 210?
No, I was just shifting my position.
Okay.
There are no other hands raised, Mr. Cobb.
I have one question, Greg. Are we going to go through that, or are we going to leave it as is, and how are we going to disclose whatever we need to disclose?
Well, I think what would be good, and it's I don't have it right in front of me, but I can in a moment. Either Yancey or I probably should read the resolution into the record, because it was not available on Friday.
Well, you want to do that now, Bailey? Should we read it into the record right now before we vote?
I could do that if you'd like.
Okay. Bill, should we read it in now before we vote?
Yeah.
Greg, are you okay? Well, Yancey's got it. She can read it if you want. Okay, I'm just calling it up now, but it hasn't arrived yet. But Yancey, if whatever you would prefer.
Okay, I'll read it. Okay, so this is a resolution appointing Sonia Alves Viveros as city manager for the city of Englewood. Whereas the position of city manager has been vacant since April 2019, having been filled in the interim period with both acting and interim managers, and whereas the governing body, with the assistance of both the Canning Group initially and with the assistance of Government Managed Advisors LLC GMA, more recently conducted an extensive and exhaustive recruitment search and selection process, interviewing numerous candidates seeking an individual to appropriately fill the vacancy in the position of city manager. And whereas following a rigorous vetting and interviewing process that was conducted by GMA and the governing body, and whereas Ms. Alves Viveros emerged as a top candidate based on her demeanor, experience, and demonstrated understanding of the technical and administrative skills and requirements that are essential to filling the position of Englewood City Manager, and whereas Sonia Alves Viveros has extensive experience working in the public sector, having served as assistant to the municipal clerk and human resources assistant, deputy city clerk, assistant business administrator, and most recently serving as the business administrator for the township of Maplewood. And whereas in that capacity, Sonia Alves Viveros, sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, managed and oversaw all township services, prepared the township's municipal budget, set policies for the organization, supervised and managed approximately 225 full-time, 179 part-time and seasonal government employees, and performed human resources duties, including union negotiations, performance evaluations, and handling of grievances. And whereas Sonia Alves Riveros has a master's degree in public administration and received a qualified purchasing agent certification from the Rutgers University Center for Government Services. And whereas the governing body has concluded that Sonia Alves Viveros, currently the township administrator of the township of Maplewood, should serve as the City of Englewood's next city manager. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Englewood in the County of Bergen that the City Council does hereby appoint Sonia Alves Viveros as the city manager effective the 14th of December 2020 in accordance with the attached Schedule A, which sets forth the complete and entire terms and conditions of employment for this appointment.
That's it. Okay.
Can move on that resolution separately if you like, or
I would like to put forth that motion to adopt the resolution that was just read into the record.
Separately?
Yes.
So we're moving to 10.
So you're gonna remove 210, and we're gonna go through 202 to 209. Unanimous consent?
Point of order,
Yes.
Mr. President. I think it might be proper for the public to have an opportunity to comment since no one was able to get the contents of the resolution prior to just now, and there may be and will likely be some comments about that. And our normal practice is to invite the public to comment on resolutions before we vote on them.
Councilman Amer, I thought we did do that on all the resolutions.
All save that one because there wasn't total clarity on the content of the resolution until just now when it was read in by Ms. Waziri.
So we can, okay, so we can do it two ways, right? We could either vote on 202 to 209 and then have this open discussions for 210?
Either way.
Okay, so why don't we vote on 202 to 209 by unanimous consent, and then since Councilwoman Rosenberg asked to pull out 210, then we can have open this discussion up to the public on 210.
I move for adoption by unanimous consent of resolutions 202 through 209.
Second.
Roll call, right?
Yep.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Glenn,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
Vote yes.
Councilwoman Rosenberg,
Yes.
Council President Cobb.
I vote yes. So now we have resolution 210, and we'll open up to the public. Am I stepping through that right, Mr. Bailey?
yeah, just that it would just be limited to that one resolution.
Just to that one resolution, yes.
Any members of the public wish to step forward, please raise your hand by doing the pressing on the more button at the bottom of your screen. Anyone have any comments on the resolution that was just read into the record? Mr. Scott Jenkins. Scott, unmute yourself.
Scott Jenkins, Tom Driven, New Jersey. I'd just like to reiterate my stance on the situation. I think your process is tainted. I think your transparency is poor. I don't know how your selections occur. I can tell you, Mr. Cobb and Mr. Hamer, that you were handed individuals that were well qualified that you ignored from the Black community. I am very disappointed in both of you. We can move on from there.
Yancy, anybody else?
No. Oh, wait, one more person. Diane Jansen.
Hi, Diane Jansen, 589 Ridgeland Terrace. While I cannot comment on this individual in terms of qualifications because I have no information on her, I'm glad to see that there is a woman in this position and a woman that represents a third of our residents. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just finishing up my notes. Okay. There's no one else with their hand raised.
Okay, let's move for a vote. We have a motion and a second on resolution 210.
No, not yet.
I'll put the motion forth.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
Second. Roll call, Yancy, when you get there.
Sorry. Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Glenn,
Yes.
Councilman Hamer,
I vote yes.
Councilwoman Rosenberg,
I vote yes, and there's no public comment tonight, so I want to take the opportunity to say how excited I am to welcome Ms. Alves into our city, and we appreciate everyone's patience along the way.
and Council President Cobb.
I vote yes. Next on the agenda, resolutions for discussion. Refund due to state tax appeals. That's you.
Council President, yeah, that's as we typically have on the agenda. Those are refunds based on tax appeals that were filed with the tax court, settlements, and also some instances where people make duplicate payments of their taxes to refund the duplicate payment.
Okay, thank you. Next, resolutions commending Esperanza, what was the name, Pacheco, on receiving a Young Adult Library Services Association grant. I believe Ms. Glenn, who?
I was going to say the library director is also one of the attendees. Glenn.
Is he here, John Arthur?
Here, yeah. I think it would be wonderful to hear from John to really describe this award and what a distinctive honor it is for someone from our library to receive this.
John, you have two John Arthurs here. Can you raise the hand that you want me to allow to talk? Okay, there we go. John, here you go.
How are you? Sorry, I didn't expect to be on camera. How's everyone doing? So yes, congratulations to Esperanza. She is really a great representative for libraries, for librarians. There were only 6 people selected for this and only 1 from New Jersey, and that is Esperanza. So we're really proud of her. And honestly, I don't think we could do most of what we do without her working at the library. So it's just, it's great to have the American Library Association, honoring someone that we all know and work with and that we all respect. So thank you, Esperanza. I know she's on the call somewhere too, and congratulations, and let us know how the conference is.
Okay, congratulations to her as well. Well deserved, well earned. Okay, thanks a lot. If anybody else wants to wish her well, please do so right now before we move on.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
And thank you, John, for your leadership. I presume you work very close in hand with Esperanza, and it's really, you've been keeping everybody going during this pandemic, both internationally with your Facebook posts and with her and your efforts every single week. Thank you.
Okay, next ordinances for discussion. We haven't none. And next, items for discussion. Debt management plan. I know that we spoke about this at our last meeting, and there's been a request that not only that the Financial Advisory Committee, they've given us their feedback, but we need to get feedback from the people, our professionals that support our efforts in the city as well. I think I received the email from Jewel Chen today regarding that. I don't know if our people are on. It looks like somebody's on from our debt management folks, our financial folks, financial advisory folks. I believe that's the gentleman. Nick is on. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Nick, can you unmute yourself? I know, is there someone else on?
No, that's John and that's Nick.
John is still on.
Yeah,
John is still.
I promoted him to panelist and I don't know how to make him go back to be an attendee.
Oh.
Nick, there you go. Nick, is there someone else on from NW besides you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. This is Nick Wolachansky of NW Financial. Dan Marinola was.
Is he on?
Hello?
Nick, we just lost.
Me, I believe.
It's just you, Nick?
Yep, it's just me on. Dan Marinola of my office was supposed to join as well, but he had a family issue tonight that he had to attend to.
So Nick, there obviously we have a financial advisory committee that has given us some recommendations, and I think it's best that they, along with yourself and others, get together and come up with one document to present to us how we're going to deal with our debt management plan and come up with a debt management plan strategy. That's what we're looking for, because we want to memorialize this. We think it's just good practice. Would curry favor with S&P as well. So we're looking for something like this to happen, right? Along with our CFO. I think there should be a coordinated effort around those discussions, and you guys should be driving the conversation in terms of what we need to do to get there.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Can
you say something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to ask if you can. My opinion on this would be that we have first of all, I would like to hear, on I guess maybe the next meeting, from our, interim city manager and from our CFO, from our internal staff, their thoughts on this. This before, I'd like to hear from them articulate what their thoughts on this are, before anything moves forward. And I'd like to also, I think it would be wise for us also to include in that conversation, to whatever extent possible, the incoming city manager, as that person is going to have to obviously be very much involved in whatever we're doing moving forward. I would, I think having, at least those three individuals, included in these conversations, also in a from a public standpoint, would allow us to have, all the perspective of our staff and our professionals as well.
Well, I can share with you. We're not going to wait 2 months till she gets here. The debt management plan we've been talking about for the longest. We're going to get this started, and then we'll bring her into it when she comes in, and she will be allowed to provide her comments. But I think that the right thing to do is move it forward, because this is what S&P is looking for, so that they could put the framework together with the financial advisors along with everybody else. And then when she joins, they can add her to that mix. To wait till she gets here, that's not smart, I think. And we've been talking about this. This has not been a secret. We had Mark Finkel on talking about some suggestions that they made earlier. So I think we should move it forward.
But what I would just comment is while we've had those individuals from the Financial Advisory Committee, we have not had any of our professionals on about this. And
We've already had talks with Joel Chin already about
it. I would want to have Joel Chin Thompson on.
We've had talks with her. She's already responded. So.
I would want to have her and the CFO on a public meeting, because if the public is hearing from the advisory committee, they should also hear from the professionals on the same thing. And I think that's the smart way to move forward, to make sure that our professionals who have, are there because of their extensive government experience and government financial experience, and have to actually be part of the implementation process. I think not having them as part of the public discourse is a disservice to the public and to us.
Mr. Cohen, they are part of the process. If you read everything, you will see there's a trail to that. So I would appreciate that if you would have heard what Mark Finkel said at the last meeting, we've been talking about, this has been a conversation for, I can't tell you how long. And it kind of lines up with when we're going into the budget. So we'll end that. We'll have, and Greg sits here for Jules, so he's already attending because he attends our meetings, and we'll have Mr. Kaufman. And Mr. Kaufman would have been here tonight, but he's sick. So we would have had that. So what I was saying was, we put all the professionals together, as I started to say earlier, let them work together and then come to us with a plan. That's what I think I said earlier.
As we
all those people.
Well,
That
as we
includes all those people.
Well, as we had a presentation from the advisory committee, I would like to hear. I mean, Greg, I don't know, and I wouldn't imagine that you're prepped for a detailed conversation about this at this time. I don't think anybody's prepped you for that, so I think it'd be unfair for me to ask you that. But I do think that it would be, when we're hearing all the calls for transparency, I think having those conversations, not just in our email threads, but in part of the public discourse at a public meeting, whether it was Jewel or whether it was Greg and Michael Kaufman, I think considering the gravity of what we're talking about, having the public hear the different opinions of the professionals in a public format, I think is something that is advisable.
Their opinion on what? On the actual debt management plan, which has not been created, or the fact that we need to create one? Do we need to hear
on details? That's what I said, Councilwoman Rosenberg. I agree.
I mean, all asking for is to create a debt management plan for them to all work together to create that. No one's suggesting that they would.
That's what we're saying. That's what I said. Get Nick and his team, the financial advisors team, and the professionals that work for the city together, have a meeting, come up with a plan, and present it to us. I think that's what we're saying, one way or the other. And then we bring Ms. Alves in when she joins because ultimately she'll own it all. So
is there any reason why she can't be brought into those conversations while she's in her intern period?
Not until she starts working here. Mr. Bailey will tell you that. He handles the legal part of it.
Mr.
Yeah,
Bailey?
You got to keep in mind she's still working for another municipality. So,
let me ask you, Mr. Bailey, if what's it called? Typically, sometimes in these circumstances, I would imagine that she would be allowed to be in those conversations if she signed an NDA. Is that something which we can talk about?
Not necessarily in the public sector.
That's why I was asking you the question.
We don't know if she wants to take on our municipality 2 months early.
She does have an obligation, which she's been very clear she wants to fulfill to the township of Maplewood. So, she needs.
That's why she's giving them 2 months
for her current employer.
Can we proceed?
Yes. Yes, we can, Councilman Hamer. Yancy, is this your bullet, the election update? Who's that?
Yes, that was me.
Yes.
Just real quick with the upcoming election, I just wanted
If I can break in for a minute, do you still want Mr. Wolshansky to be on this call?
No, he can leave, and Nick, we'll be in touch with you, okay?
Thank you, and we will definitely be in touch with the city's professionals, and we'll get on that that management plan. We have, I will say, we have over the last few years we've been planning forward, and we do have a plan already. Well, not a plan, just we have just an idea of how to manage the debt going forward in terms of bonding the debt and taking advantage of these historically low municipal market rates. When the city is going to be issuing next year. So we are definitely interested, and we will be in touch as soon as possible with the city's professionals.
So the plan to come back on the 27th is our next meeting, Yancy?
Yes.
Yeah. So are you able to have something by the 27th, and we can have several meetings, and we can organize all the people that need to be a part of this to give us a presentation?
Yes, we'll certainly work to have a strategy and something to put forth before you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Sorry, Yancy, you can go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot Nick was there for a second. Okay, so just real quick, today is the last day to register to vote. There is a half hour left, actually 25 minutes left. If you still need to register to vote, City Hall is open. City The office staff are here to take any voter registration forms that you may have. If you're not able to make it down here, you are able to register online. Just make sure you get it done before 9 p.m. That is your last opportunity to be able to participate in the November 3rd election if you are not registered to vote already. Just a reminder, I still keep getting this question. All registered active voters in the city of Englewood will be receiving a mail-in ballot. If you have not received one yet, please give me a call. I will give you the phone number to reach out to the county to find out what happened to your ballot. The mail-in ballots, once you receive them, you will be able to track them. There is a tracking mechanism through the State of New Jersey website. You can go on that. It's New Jersey Division of Elections. You will be able to follow that. There is a drop-off box in front of City Hall. Some misconceptions based on phone calls we're receiving in the office. The ballots are not picked up by the Postal Service. The ballots every day are picked up by officials from the county. A Democratic member of the Board of Elections and a Republican member of the Board of Elections, along with a sheriff's officer, pick up the ballots every day and deliver them directly to the Board of Elections where they are processed. So the Postal Service is not involved. So that drop box will be here through the election. 8 p.m. election night is the cutoff. That box will be locked and you will not be able to vote after that or drop off your ballot after that. Another way you'll be able to vote on election day besides the mail-in ballots, there will be 8 polling stations in the city on election day. Those sites, I believe, are on the website. They are for sure on the state website. Be able to vote. If you show up to vote in person, the only people who will be allowed to vote in a machine are people who are blind, illiterate, or disabled and unable to hold a pen. If you come to the polling location, you will be given a provisional paper ballot. You will also be able to bring in your mail-in ballot to your polling site, but you will have to stand online with everybody else. So please keep that in mind, that if you do come to the election site, you will have to stand online. It's not just walk in, drop off your ballot and leave. You will have to sign the book. You are not allowed to bring anyone else's ballot except your own. Again, you could have the Dropbox option here till that day. That's pretty much.
Yancy, could you tell us how, I've been asked if people feel they have a qualifying disability, how do they get certified to be able to vote in a machine?
Have to just not be able to hold a pen. It's people who are disabled. And
so if they just show up and
it's not like you have a handicap sticker. I know people who have handicap stickers, for example, can count themselves as disabled. If you just have a handicap sticker, or
they can just walk in and say, I have a disability, and
no, you have to not be able to hold a pen.
Okay.
It's pretty much for anyone who requires assistance. If you're able to walk into that machine without any assistance of someone pushing a button for you, you're not disabled.
Okay.
Okay. They're going to be really strict about it. The poll workers will call down to the county to receive permission to allow someone to vote in that machine. It's not going to be their final call. So no sample ballots will not be mailed out this election. So if you're waiting for a sample ballot, you won't get one. They're going to be mailing out postcards. So expect a postcard coming out soon. It'll have your polling location site as well as other useful information that you will need for the elections. Just going through my notes real quick.
Yancy, are there poll watchers at the election sites?
Well, they're called challengers, and we've always had challengers at every election. You need to get a challenger badge. It's those pink badges that people, sometimes you see them at polling sites. Candidates are always automatic challengers. If you're not a candidate, you will have to get one of those pink badges from the Board of Elections. If you don't have one of those pink badges, you will not be allowed inside the polling site. Only board workers, voters, challengers, and other election staff are allowed in a polling location. I think that's pretty much, I was trying to get through this fast. Pretty much all I have. If anyone else has any other questions, those are just the basics for now. Okay. Thank you, Mr. for allowing me to go through that real quick.
No problem. No problem. That's important. We need to get that information out there. Next is baseball fields. I'm just gonna say one thing. Mr. Volsi, we've asked Mr. Volsi to do an assessment. Him along with Mr. Jenkins and Merrill Simon, they did an assessment of all the fields. And I thought it was important to put this on there because you have a lot of people spinning or saying things. So Mr. Volsi will give you the accurate update on each field. He'll be specific to the field and what took place in terms of the status of the fields. And, then we can move forward from there. But I thought it was important that we put it out there and let people know exactly the status of all the fields and whatever. Because at the end of the day, we want all the fields to be open for everybody to do whatever they need to do to play. We support that. And just as a side note, Tenafly has closed all their fields because of the recent spike in COVID. Everything there, even the schools. So, and they were very good at what they were doing with their fields and really diligent in terms of monitoring the times and the hours when you can be on those fields. So that's another thing. But Mr. Volsi will give you the status of the health condition of our fields.
How's everyone doing? Just quickly, and I'll go quickly through this. The main field that we were getting a lot of calls about, essentially Herring Field, is essentially 90% completed. All the clay fields there are done. The bigger field, the sprinkler system has been completely installed, and the sod, from my understanding, has been completed over the weekend. So in a couple of weeks, those fields will be totally done and over with and playable if it comes to that. The McKay Field, as most of you are aware, the turf field is closed at this point. The natural field, we're actually doing a design to revamp the whole thing, and that's.
Mr. Volsi, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Let's go back to the turf field and talk about the folks that came out and walked the field and declared the field unsafe to play with, our insurance people. So just talk about that and talk about potential.
What essentially happened is I went out there and I made an assessment of the field, and I thought it was dangerous to have anyone use the field, and because of that, we actually opted to try and see if we can repair the field. We had some vendors come out there, take a look at the field as well, and they all expressed concern with the condition of the field. As a result, we had our insurance actually come out and assess the field, and they also stated that the field should be closed until adequate repairs have been made for the field to become playable and usable. So it would be in our best interest, as they put it, to close down the field at its current condition. They've also assessed, the park as a whole. The soccer field, there were some concerns, and the DPW has since then addressed many of the concerns that they pointed out.
Could I interrupt you again? Could
Sure.
you go back to the AstroTurf field and say you got some prices on it? Could you can you give some context in terms of the cost that it would cost to repair that field?
Yes, the field itself, in terms of the turf, repairing the turf, is rather expensive. We're talking about upwards to $400,000 and above to have that turf field restored the way it should be. Essentially, we'll be ripping out what's there right now and putting a brand new turf field in. Part of what we're doing also is getting some quotes as putting in a natural field instead of a turf field, just to have some sort of option as to what we're gonna eventually move forward in doing with that field. So, and as far as the natural field that exists there now, we're going to be redoing that field as well, and that constitute, regrading that field, putting new sod down, new scoreboard, etc. And that project is probably going to go out in a couple weeks or so, just for bidding, etc.
Mr. Volker, I want to interrupt you again. I'm sorry, but that field, the Little League field, that's because that's the Little League field. There was a grant associated with that, right?
That is correct.
Because some people are saying we're not spending the money on it. We are spending the money on that field. It's associated specifically, it's targeted specifically for the Little League field, which you're starting to do work on.
That is absolutely correct. There is an open space grant that is tied with the construction work in that field, and that is what is going to be going out for bid in a couple weeks, so that we can again revamp that field and essentially use the grant money that was allocated for the repairs associated with that field. In terms of other fields throughout the city, we've had, like I said, Ed Roy and Merle. Actually, I went out to a few of them as well and evaluated the condition of just the parks as a whole. Some of the parks, a lot of the parks are currently closed. I mean, Crystal Lake, for example, the dog run is open, but the park itself, it's not closed, but there's some maintenance issues that need to be taken care of there. Trumbull Park, the playground area is closed. We do have a vendor in town right now that is providing mulch and wood chips throughout some of the play areas, just so we can possibly reopen them if that's something that the city wishes to do later on in the year. But that is something that's currently being done. So the park areas where the wood chips aren't put in are currently closed, the play area for the children. As far as Trumbull Park, the basketball courts are open, the tennis courts are open. The Garrity Field baseball field, it needs a little bit of grooming right now, but for the most part, it's usable. The baseball stands there, the seats, we are looking to have someone come in and tighten some of these seats. Some of them appear loose. So we're gonna have to get some work done on those as well, just from a safety standpoint, in case they get used. Madison Park, the basketball courts are open. A lot of these, even though they're open, a lot of them do need some work, especially with resurfacing, etc. At McKay Park, the basketball courts, there's some substantial defects in the basketball court that we're looking at right now. I am in touch with Merle and Ed Roy in terms of closing down the basketball courts, just to assess what kind of repairs we're talking about, whether it's something major, whether it's something we can patch up. Right now, it seems that we may have to redo the basketball courts altogether. They've sort of reached their lifespan in terms of being utilized. And jumping around again, Artist Park, the playground area is closed there. The basketball court is closed. And, we have to replace the backboard, the pole. There's some major things that have to be done there. Dunning Park is open. Depot, as you know, the playground area, they're still being worked on. We are waiting for some additional play parts to come in so we can finalize those structures and finalize that project. Unfortunately, we've spoken to the vendor a number of times, and the pandemic has hit everybody in a way where they're working with limited staff and things are just slow. So we're waiting for a few parts to come in so we can finalize that project. I see Glenbrook Parkway, the playground area there is closed as well because of wood chips. We need to get that in place prior to opening that. And the same thing is regarding Morris Park. But the basketball court at Morris Park is open. That seems to be in decent condition. I think I've hit just about all the parts.
Okay, Mr. Volsi, thank you for your update. I think it's been helpful for those who want to know about the fields.
And just one thing, if any of the residents have any concerns regarding the fields, et cetera, I mean, I am, everyone knows my number. We're here to try and get these things open, but open safely in a way that everyone can enjoy it. So please, if you have any questions regarding the parts or their status, feel free to give me a call.
Thank you, Mr. Volsi. The next is the business district zoning. I'm sure myself and Councilman Hamer have gotten some inquiries as well as something from the mayor about the zoning in the business district or rezoning of certain areas in the business district. So I think we have to do some homework on that and see what else what other offerings we could have, because it may be able to, if we rezone some areas, it may be a stimulus to bring in different types of other kind of respectable businesses that we would want downtown. So I think that's more work to come on it. And we just have to look at the areas, whether it's the Dean Street, Van Brunt Street, and those areas there. And the zoning, Mr. Volsi will be a part of that as well. But we have to put that on the table and explore that. Mr. Hamer or the mayor, if you want to say something about zoning, I will give you the floor at this time.
Mayor, well, it's probably better. No, I was just saying it would probably be better. You've been getting the phone calls and emails on, alternate uses that we might consider. It might be better if you spoke.
Yeah, I have put out all of the information publicly of people that are interested in the Liberty School and all the other.
This has nothing to do with Liberty School.
I know, but when it comes to rezoning or redeveloping areas.
We're talking about the business district, Mr. Mayor, the business district.
The central business district.
Right. Liberty School has nothing to do with that. We're talking about down here, the business district. We're not putting Liberty School in that.
I understand.
Okay.
Let me continue. The central business district also is right on the cusp of the Liberty School. Whether it's the Liberty School, the Mitchell-Simon property, or all the other properties that people have eyes on or interests, my protocol is always to ask them to send an email to my mayor email, and then whatever interest they have to step forward. And I generally forward those emails to all interested parties, including the different boards if they have to seek a variance and so forth. There have been some claims that some of the projects have what is considered to be a canyon effect, or that the height needs to be restricted, or that affordable indigenous or workforce housing should be made more of a component, and that any of the development that's happening in the central business district, particularly be brought in conformance with our post-Amazon / post-pandemic needs. Anybody who's interested in investing in Englewood and putting forward a plan should come forward to the professionals. And I'm very diligent about including whether it's the city manager, the city solicitor, and the council president and others, so that I'm not the only one receiving these emails, and that they can have direct talks with those decision makers as well. We have to be more humble, and we have to look to some of the zoning ordinances and the use changes, if this is what you're talking about, Mr. Cobb, particularly in the ShopRite area, where some of the landlords are looking to fill vacancies, and they have to think out of the box. There are restrictions, for example, that you cannot have certain medical uses in our shopping retail area. To the extent that the city council could adopt a new ordinance or give some immediate relief to some of these landlords, whether it's bringing some of the professional offices of law firms, accounting firms, and otherwise into retail forms, or allowing some of the medical / commercial use. There's some cosmetics, dermatologies where they're selling product where they may qualify for the use of stores. And those uses really be confronted. And at this juncture, The main party that's pushing this is Trico, who controls the ShopRite arena. And that whole area may be a good enough carve out if Mr. Bailey can craft a resolution that would allow some of those landlords to fill the vacancies. I think there's one that they have to close within the next month or two. And if, you know, we, at the last Special Improvement District meeting, I think Mr. Hamer and I heard a myriad of thoughts where it had to go to the Planning Board, to the Board of Adjustment. And ultimately, the governing body, I think, is in a position, if it enacts a resolution or changes an ordinance, to allow landlords to fill this. So whether it's the Liberty School or other development tracts or other uses in our central business district or off the central business district, we need to be using this time of pandemic and planning to allow our stores to fill up. And also, we have to be careful. We don't just want them filling up with wares because they can't sell stuff in other communities, and then we end up with a bazaar on Dean Street and so forth. So a lot of thought has to go into this. I trust the Special Improvement District and the leadership there to help craft something that would be helpful.
Thank you. Mr. Cobb, just a quick comment. One of the considerations might be involving the Chamber of Commerce to a degree, along with one of the mayor's committees. And recently there was an informal Facebook poll that was created in one of the Englewood sites, or one of the Englewood postings, that asked residents what they would like to see in the way of commercial ventures. And there was a very long list of uses that put forth, and it could be that we got to get the property owners together with the right kinds of businesses that will have a greater chance of success. And it wouldn't hurt to hear from residents and the public about what they're interested in seeing and the types of businesses that they would like to patronize. So if there's some way to, and I do understand that some of the property owners have been reducing rents, but I think it's really important for them to hear the kinds of businesses that residents are interested in patronizing, and getting that information in front of them so that they can make the right kind of leases and bring the right kind of businesses in that might have a shot at success in these troubled times.
Yep. So maybe we have to put something together where an outreach to participating somehow, some way at a meeting or something.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, let's think about that, because if they have ideas of stores and things that come in there, then we know they'll support them because they feel engaged. So that's some work to be done. A lot of work on that one.
Mr. Cobb, in the immediate need, should Mr. Fish and his lawyers reach out to Mr. Bailey and see if there is a quick fix to the ShopRite area? In other words, if that does not offend the rest of our zoning rules and they have a particular financial interest in closing deals, I'd like Mr. Bailey maybe to work with him on that.
That would have to be with Mr. Bailey, Greg, and Jewel. They collectively run the city together on a daily basis, along with anybody else who they believe should be at the table to have those discussions. Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, if I may, because that area was deemed a redevelopment area 20 years ago, probably, which one avenue that I can discuss with them and also in conjunction with Franz and the city planner is, possibly amending the redevelopment agreement to allow more flexibility or other uses that are attractive to that area and then could benefit that redevelopment area as a whole. So that's another avenue that actually might give the city some more flexibility because it was in fact already deemed a redevelopment area.
Well, I appreciate that it was put on the agenda, Charles, and I think ultimately we want to make sure that we get the stakeholders together, and if there's something that's identified that will move and fill up these vacancies, that it's done in a substantive way. I trust Adam Brown, I trust Wayne, and the leadership of the SID to make sure that they fill these gaps and we fill them quickly so that the tax burden is not on the residents.
So, Mr. Bailey, if you can look into that with Franz and the folks that you believe that need to be at the table, that would be helpful. Appreciate that.
Sure.
I think that would be something helpful. And then you can report back to us and let us know what's going on, what the council needs to do.
Yep, will do.
Then the next bullet is homelessness. I had that put on there because it's been brought to my attention. We have a number of homeless people in Englewood. And I think we need to be sensitive to that. And what I mean by that, we need to, and probably Jim Federico probably would have been a good person to have on this Zoom meeting tonight, to come up with at least a resource center. And what I mean by that is where these people could go and get guidance and information that could help them out. But I don't believe we have a center for that. I think there's a number of different places where they probably go. But more importantly, it's coming into the winter season. And we don't want to find people outside sleeping and, expiring and all that. And wherever we can get resources and help them out, I think we just need to probably centralize it somewhere so they could go to one place and get all the information they need to get. And then we can help them and be sensitive to it. So I just wanted to, I think we just need to be sensitive to that. We need to be aware that it is. Meryl Simon she's given me the number. I guess it's maybe 5, 6 people in McKay Park right now that are sleeping behind the ice skating ring. One guy is sleeping in the dollhouse we have on Englewood Avenue. Then you have a number of guys who are sleeping down by the second basketball court underneath the bushes. They've kind of wedged themselves into that. I think the chief of police is aware of that as well. So we just need to be aware of that, and wherever we could help in terms of guidance and resources and things of that nature, I think we should, look into something, organizing something, or something from a city's perspective in terms of resources and guidance. And I'll talk to Jim Federico about that because he's our health officer and he may know, along with some other folks. And we should be sensitive to that because we know that we've been feeding, the World Food Kitchen has been feeding a lot of people. A lot of people have been feeding a lot of our people here. And it's coming up to wintertime. And hopefully some of these programs are going away, but these people still need to eat. So we're going to have to, we got to be able to provide some direction, some guidance for these people and be sensitive to it, because they are a part of our community. The next item I have is OpenGov. Mr. Kaufman is not here tonight. Jewel did send me some communications regarding OpenGov, but this was a project that's been going on for almost, I believe, 2 years, and I wanted to get a status, so she gave me a written status on that, and hopefully at the next meeting, Mr. Kaufman will be able to attend and give us some feedback onto that. The last.
Mr. Cobb, would you like that forwarded to the other members of City Council?
You can.
Okay, I will do that.
You can. And the last item we have here is banners, and Mr. Bailey, I think you have to talk about that, and then Mr. Henry, he wants to add.
Yeah, as you may recall, the Englewood Hospital had approached the city about putting banners in the vicinity of Angle Street, regarding the hospital and things along those lines. What we need to do, if it's the consensus to move in that direction, is do an amendment to the ordinance, because currently they're prohibited. However, we could amend the ordinance to permit them, and I would just need some direction in terms of where exactly you want them. I mean, I would assume the business district, as opposed to, say, a strictly residential area, because I don't think anyone's really going to be interested in banners there anyway. But what came to my mind was Angle, Palisade Ave, Dean Street, kind of really everything kind of in the vicinity of the downtown, right, and the hospital heading south. because I can start putting something together if everyone feels okay with something along those lines, and work in conjunction with Franz and the planner as well, putting that together.
Is everybody okay with that? Does it sound like that? Anybody have an issue with what Mr. Bailey's just said?
Nope.
Okay, so I'll put a draft together.
Okay, Mr. Hammer, you have anything to add with that?
No, nothing at all.
Mr. Cobb, there was one thought. We were going to try to find out if they were going to be commercially monetizing this in some way where the city would have a permit or a license fee. If they were going to be promoting some of their doctors and it would be more commercial than informational, the city may want to reserve bill some language in the resolution to have a permit processing or to share in something.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we would some type of review as well, kind of along the lines that the sign committee does.
Yeah, because if they're making money and we want to encourage them to do well, at the same time, the city, could be put in a delicate position if it doesn't permit it for other beneficial uses, other medical facilities, and it may be a way to raise revenue that they would be happy to share.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, whatever Mr. Bailey comes up with, we will review it. This body will review it. So whatever comments or whatever you believe that should be included in that, you can include it, whatever your comments or whatever your things are. So, Mr. Bailey, will we have that for our next meeting, or you think?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Mr. Hammer, you done? You okay with what we just said as well?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Peter will be looking for some feedback, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. That's your charge. All right. Yancy, I believe we can go to the public session. And everybody has 2 minutes for the public session. And we will have a cordial, and if any profanity is used or things of that type of aggressive language, as you said, that person will be muted during that. So let's hopefully we have confidence in everybody has the ability to get their points across without the aggressive language, right? So they just have to state their name, address, and they have 2 minutes to address whatever they choose to.
Diane Jensen.
Hi, Diane Jansen, 589 Ridgeland Terrace. I wanted to ask if it was possible for the public to have a written summary of the wonderful presentation that Franz Balsi gave us on the status of the fields and the cost by field. I feel that investing in our fields is an investment in the youth, and not only that, it's a marketing tool. When you pass through the city and you see horrible looking parks and fields, you really don't want to come into Englewood. And if we could invest 1.5 million at the recent TAC Traffic Advisory Committee meeting in safety, pedestrian and traffic safety, surely we could find a match of 1.5 million to invest in our youth. That's my one point. The second point is enforcement for the free flow of traffic on Palisade Avenue. If we cannot enforce the free flow of traffic on Palisade Avenue, why don't we close it off? Why don't we make it a pedestrian wall? Why don't we do something like they do in Cape May, where there's several major sections and there are one-ways up and one-ways down? That's 2. 3, Liberty School. We were promised a session in the fall. It's the fall. 4, in terms of the enforcement of LED digital signage, there's some legal issues, I understand, with the Route 4 eastbound sign. I was at the planning meeting. I heard the ordinance. It said that sign would be turned off at 12 o'clock. I was able to, we have a recording of the meeting where the planning board voted on it. the sign is not turned off at 12 midnight. And now there's another sign that wants to go up that's going to be even higher on Route 4 going west. And this will set a precedent. And then lastly, I want to say thank you. Thank you for hiring a city manager. Thank you for hiring a woman. Thank you for further diversifying the council. Thank you for the Care One appeal and winning it at this stage. And thank you. Hopefully we'll be hearing back on the Leonia decision regarding when they tried to privatize their streets. We hope to be hearing back on that soon. And I'd like to thank the council again on really taking a stand on that also as well. But now we need to take a stand on some other things. And the development has to be equal throughout the city. Thanks.
Next. Yancy.
Lisa Wasotsky.
Hi.
You were muted.
Can you hear me, Yancy?
Yes, Lisa, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. I've had multiple meetings in the past with Councilwoman Cheryl Rosenberg and Council President Charles Cobb and the city manager and with Franz about the fields. And I appreciate your commitment to the fields. My comment is that when you're looking at the McKay turf field, and I heard you mention pricing out the turning it back, converting it into a grass field. And I just wanted to make the comment that it's really imperative that we keep it as a turf field. As a turf field, it requires minimal maintenance and can be used almost year round in any weather. Thank you.
Any members of the public wish to speak? Bottom of your screen, more, raise hand. Right now, there's nobody currently with their hand raised.
All right, I'm going to close the public session of this meeting. Mr. Bailey, will you do us the honors? Take us to closed session, please.
Yes, sir. Be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Englewood that it meet in a closed session pursuant to subsections 6, 7, and 8 regarding pending investigations and tactics for the public welfare, pending or anticipated litigation and matters within the attorney-client privilege, and be further resolved that discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public upon taking final action thereon, provided it does not constitute an undue invasion of privacy or violate the attorney-client privilege. And be it further resolved that the council will return to open session at the conclusion of the closed session, but is not anticipated it will take any action at that time. But I see Yancy raising her hand there.
Can we add a appointment to that? I had a request for one of the board appointments.
So what?
Can we add appointments to that?
Okay, yeah.
One of the board appointments.
We would just add that it would also be pursuant to appointments as set forth as an exception under the Open Public Meetings Act.
Okay. So Yancy, you
just need a motion, a second.
We had a motion to go into close?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We go to close. Yancy, is it on the that latest email that you sent today?
The email I sent today, yes. Just go to that.
All right, so we'll leave this meeting and go to the close. See you later, Franz.
All right.
Good job.
Have a good night.
Everyone.